Benvenuti, oggi parliamo delle tecnologie per la difesa e la sicurezza. Ricordiamo che il vantaggio tecnologico è considerato ormai la base per la deterrenza del futuro. L'ordine internazionale non si manterrà soltanto attraverso la governance, l'economia, le relazioni strategiche, ma il ruolo delle tecnologie sarà sempre più vincolante. Noi oggi siamo in compagnia di Deeph Chana, professore dell'Imperial College di Londra, dove è stato direttore dell'Istituto di Scienze e Tecnologia per la Sicurezza. E oggi è Managing Director di Nato, dell'A, Defense Innovation Accelerator for the North Atlantic. Benvenuto professore, welcome professor.
Thank you very much.
Il professore è a capo dell'ente dell'Alleanza Atlantica che stimola l'innovazione tecnologica all'interno dei paesi del patto, grazie alla collaborazione e al coinvolgimento delle università, dell'industria, del mondo delle start-up e della ricerca. Bene, l'obiettivo di Diana è quello di stimolare l'ecosistema innovativo dell'Alleanza, fornendo degli investimenti diretti alle start-up. Ecco, in che modo il progetto intende raggiungere questi obiettivi scientifici e tecnologici e poi quali sono gli aspetti più rilevanti di questa sfida?
Yes, so that's in essence exactly what Diana is meant to do. What we're looking for is the most sort of exciting and disruptive technologies, things that we think are going to make a big change in our future. And then we are trying to back ideas inside that space, inside those spaces, technologies that are going to emerge from basic science that are going to help us to build more resilient, secure societies, and also provide us with the kind of technologies and capabilities that we will need in classic defense applications. And we can see that things like machine learning, for example, the advent of quantum computing, the emergence of blockchains, all of these kind of technologies are fundamentally reshaping society, and we see many, many innovators coming up with bright ideas to address some of the problems that we face in security and defense, and we're here to try and support them. So we provide some grant funding for that support, and we also provide a very rich network within which they will be able to make brand new networks and connections and hopefully give them a lot of opportunities for success in the future.
Fondamentale per lo sviluppo di Diana è la collaborazione con start-up e società innovative. In che modo si svolgerà questa collaborazione tra la Nato e le realtà del mondo imprenditoriale?
What we are trying to do is to bring together a lot of different communities actually. So you can think of Diana as a networking kind of entity, if you like. So as well as supporting the startups with funding, we want to connect them with other businesses which might be interested in their idea, maybe potentially wanting to go into joint venture agreements with them to help them grow and scale. We want to provide them with access to mentors who might just help them, and some of those mentors could come from business, but they might come from government, they might come from academia. And so there are going to be many opportunities that we see for existing businesses to interact with our startups and really help them to, as I said, grow and succeed in the future. So the whole idea is to create a kind of brokering platform, if you like, to facilitate these interconnections. And many of our startups will never have the opportunity to do that themselves. So with a brand like NATO and Diana, we're able to really bring a lot of that opportunity forward to them much, much earlier in their development.
Su quali aree o sfide tecnologiche si dovrà concentrare Diana?
That's an excellent question, Fabia, and it's something we're going to have to keep looking at over the years to come. The technology landscape, just in the last 15, 20 years, has moved into so many new areas, and we can see many, many new areas in the future as well. So one challenge for us is to track where those bright ideas are coming from, what new technologies are really going to be the things that we need to sort of connect to, and then to follow that. And so being part of a system which has lots of universities involved, for example, gives us the ability to do that. We've just launched our first set of startups in January. These were based around three themes. We had energy resilience, we had secure information sharing, and sensing and surveillance in undersea environments. So these were the first three themes that we wanted to concentrate on. We had an amazing response actually from Italian innovators. We have three companies inside that cohort, I think two in energy, in the energy resilience space, and one in the secure information sharing space. And now this is the beginning of us exploring a much wider set of technology areas, I think, in the years to come.
L'anno scorso Diana ha lanciato le sue prime iniziative. Quali sono i principali progetti già avviati e quali risultati si intende raggiungere nel prossimo futuro?
So as I said just a second ago, we have these three themes: energy resilience, sensing and surveillance, and we're also looking at the secure information sharing domain with this first cohort. So we've seen a really good set of companies here that we feel in very short order of time will be able to start working with end users to demonstrate their ideas, to test their ideas with some of the test centers. We have actually a large number of test centers inside the network. Italy has a very decent footprint there. In fact, I think we will be adding another 16 to the 3 that are already there in Italy alone. And this will give the opportunity for the startups to quickly understand whether their ideas have got some things that they need to tweak, to change, and to make those modifications, and then to improve. And we want to encourage the startups to go through that cycle of improvement at a very high frequency or a very high pace. And this will enable them to grow quickly.
Oltre al progetto Diana, la Nato ha avviato l'Investment Fund, un programma centrale per garantire stabilità e certezza degli investimenti. In che modo dialogheranno questi due programmi?
That, again, another really, really good question, because these two organizations have come up, have kind of been created at roughly the same time. And that's not by accident. What we want to do with Diana, we want to create an acceleration program. So what we do is we give startups an opportunity early on with funding which doesn't take any equity. So we don't take any shares in those companies. And we give them all of the tools that they might need in the future to become successful fundraisers when they are seeking to go and get equity and maybe get more money to grow. But we also know that we need to give them a vehicle, something that will give them that kind of investment. And so NATO has created the NATO Innovation Fund, which is a €1 billion venture capital fund, which does take equity. And the idea is that some of the companies that will go through Diana hopefully will be successful enough that the NATO Innovation Fund sees that they are investable, and then they can take them and help them to grow and scale. But I should say that the NATO Innovation Fund can invest in other things outside of Diana. So that also puts pressure on Diana to produce the best outputs possible in the market for the NATO Innovation Fund to invest in. So these two things are supposed to work in tandem with one another.
Per quanto riguarda l'Italia, Diana è presente nel nostro paese con l'acceleratore Take-Off di Torino, che attraverso il programma Diana Take-Off potrà offrire servizi di accelerazione da parte dell'operational partner Plug and Play, in un campo, diciamo, ampio di aree tecnologiche. Recentemente l'Italia ha anche incrementato il numero di centri per testare le tecnologie, sia militari sia civili, offerto proprio alla Nato. In questo modo diciamo che qualsiasi start-up che verrà accelerata nel nostro paese potrà contare su un corrispondente test center per provare proprio le proprie tecnologie. Si potrebbe dire che, ecco, ci spieghi come si configurerà la collaborazione tra l'acceleratore, i test center e la Nato nel nostro paese.
Yes, I mean, one of the things we're trying to do is to make sure that the ability for our startups to move from an accelerator environment into a test center and back to the accelerator, maybe even to work with some university labs, that these sort of things are much easier for startups to do. At the moment, it's very difficult for startups to navigate those kind of networks. So what we have done is set up with test centers, for example, with our accelerators, a series of agreements and ways of working and some principles on how startups will be treated as they go through. So those agreements will allow a frictionless or as little friction as possible for the startups as they interact. Now, we are going to be building this. This is year one of the program, and so I anticipate that over the next few years we will be developing that, making that smoother and better. Particularly as the startups go through, they will be teaching us and telling us, you know, maybe this worked and maybe this didn't work. And so as we learn from the startups over the next few years, I'm hoping that we will get better and better at making that a smoother and smoother process. And of course, for the Italian startups, there's already an amazing footprint, as we said, of test centers here. But the real bonus here is that we're looking at a footprint right across the alliance. And that is something very exciting, which I'm hoping that companies in Italy will be able to move through to different countries where there are different test center capabilities as well, and make use of those as well. So if we can see that happening, then we'll truly be successful as creating a alliance-wide acceleration program.
Bene, grazie, siamo giunti al termine del nostro incontro. Io ringrazio Deeph Chana per essere stato con noi. Thank you, Professor, for your presence, for your time today. Devo dire che è un'ottima opportunità per il nostro Paese quella di ospitare un acceleratore della Nato. Io mi auguro che l'Italia riesca a coglierla appieno. Grazie a tutti, arrivederci.